For a long time, I thought that all it took to be successful was knowing what you wanted to achieve and working hard to get there. I spent years of my life fighting against the system, working 80 hours a week to break free and achieve my goals. During this time, I experienced a significant amount of negative emotion. I was tired, angry, and losing my faith that my effort would ever result in the achievement of my goals. I found myself hating my life and doing anything in my power to escape my conditions. I decided to take a break from all the hardship and really self-reflect. I realized that my mental health was deteriorating, and I started looking for ways to rebalance my life. I looked towards religions such as Buddhism and started to prioritize self-help practices like mindfulness and gratitude. I tried to become more accepting and grateful for the present moment. In doing so, I felt myself begin to slip. I lost sight of the goals in which I worked so hard for. If there's so much to be grateful for in the present moment, why work towards achieving anything else? I felt as though I was in a real predicament. Focusing on my vision for the future led to me being miserable every day of my life, while being grateful for the days that I have made me complacent and stagnant. I didn't know what the right answer was and felt stuck flipping between these two modes. After significant amounts of critical thought, I believe that I've come to an answer to this difficult question, which is exactly why I made this video to share this with you. Stick around for the whole video because today we're going to cover the mindset shift that I underwent, which has helped me work towards my goals with more positive emotion in the present moment. When I shared my problem with others, one theme consistently came up. Everyone seemed to agree that being too focused on the end goal sets you up for failure. The reasoning is simple. In comparison to how long you work, the time that you get to bask in victory is almost non-existent. When you consider someone training for the Olympics and getting a gold medal, they train for thousands of hours just to win for a few moments. All that built up effort was directed at a singular goal, but the retrieval of the goal lasted a negligible amount of time. If an Olympic athlete only cared about the end goal, they'd quickly burn out during the 4 years between events. No matter where you look, whether it be in sports, making a piece of art, or getting a promotion at work, victory only lasts a fraction of the time that it takes to get there. When I began to look at my goals through this lens, I realized that the only way forward was to enjoy the process towards my acquisition of the goals. I've always known this, but never acted upon it. Hearing cliches like, "It's about the journey, not the destination," never really resonated with me, but as life beat me down over the last few years, the message started to appeal more. When you listen to a song, the goal is not to get to the end of it, but to enjoy the journey throughout. A hike is not necessarily about one breathtaking view, but the act of walking through nature. Going to the beach is not about a singular event, but the processes that take place while you're there. In many areas of my life, it was starting to become easier to see the appeal of the process. But I still struggled to connect the dots for my work. I especially found it difficult to love the process while learning a new skill. When you learn something new, you're going to suck at it. Being bad at something causes you to feel negative emotion and the desire not to suck. In the moment, it doesn't feel good to be bad at something. When I tried to learn Premiere Pro for video editing for this YouTube channel, I hated every moment of it because I didn't know what I was doing. It took me forever to accomplish what I would consider to be easy tasks, and I felt bad about myself for being a slow learner. Anytime I've tried something new, this is usually the result. In school, I would become really frustrated with the classes, which were more difficult and required work outside of the class. In these scenarios, I was not in love with the process because the process was showing me that I'm not good. Through my realization of how I was feeling while learning a new process, a core truth about skill development came across my mind. The only way to become good at something is to apply effort over time. It's unrealistic to think that you'd be good at something right from the start. It's undoubtable that you'll become better with time and effort. With the clear correlation of skill growing with time and effort, how can we use this phenomenon to help us fall more in love with the process in the moment? If the current moment reminds us that we suck, but by working through the sucking, we will no longer suck, is that enough to motivate us to enjoy the moment? You'll have to try it out for yourself, but what I found is that I'm able to improve how I feel about a particular task by framing it through the derivative. Framing through the derivative means to look at the slope of your actions. Are you trending up or down? Through the action you just took of learning, do you now know more than you did before? If so, you have a positive derivative from that experience. If you tried to do the work, got angry, and quit to go get high and play video games, you're experiencing a negative derivative. In the past, I'd feel as though I'm a lost cause and that would never get any better. That's all because I was looking at the work ahead of me instead of the growth that I had already made. Now, when I look at a new task through a derivative-focused growth mindset, telling myself to focus on what I can control, I feel much more in command of the situation. I can see the application of my effort over time and how those actions are leading to a positive derivative in my knowledge. There will always be situations where you feel like the odds are stacked against you. Try as you might to reframe the situation, it might still seem inconquerable. In moments like these, I find the most effective strategy to be scaling back the level of difficulty to match your skill level. This practice requires self-awareness over how you're feeling in the present moment, with the goal for you to get into a more comfortable state where you feel like you can handle the challenge. When the challenge is too high, we're put into an anxious state of avoidance and feel as if our goals are out of reach. When I was trying to learn how to write my first software patent, this is how I felt. I have always felt that technical writing was a challenge for myself, and when I had to write concise language to describe a product I was making, I felt overwhelmed. I didn't know where to start and began avoiding the situation altogether. What got me through these challenging times was to scale my perception of the difficulty back so that I felt more comfortable enough to actually get started. Instead of telling myself that I had to write an entire patent, I started with the background section. Seeing that all I had to do was provide essentially a thesis statement of my product and investigate competitive product patents, I felt capable of this task. I knew how to research and started there. This got the ball rolling and allowed for me to look back in a positive light at the derivative of my actions. Each word I was writing was filling up the progress bar of what makes up a complete patent. Once I finished the background, I dove into the next part that felt within my skill level. By breaking down a larger goal into smaller tasks, which I felt capable of achieving, I was able to make a high friction task into one that was more enjoyable in the moment. The process of writing a patent is one that scared me for a long time, but as I've structured my strategy appropriately, it became more pleasurable in the moment. As you'll find with most content on this channel, success is achievable through a change in mindset. Your perception is the limiting factor over your behavior, and if you can make strides that change that perception, you'll change how you operate yourself. Through my stories and frameworks, I hope that you've learned something that you can apply to your own life. I don't claim to be perfect or that I love everything that I do, but I know that I'm in a better position now than I previously was through the reframing of my situation. By focusing on the derivative and scaling back the difficulty of some of my tasks to something that I can handle, positive emotion is far more accessible. To me, success is feeling that you're doing the right thing at the right time, and it's leading you down the right path towards the right goal. The recent changes I made in my mindset have made me feel more successful, and I intend to continue as my goals scale over the course of my life. If you got any value from this video, make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. Thanks for watching.